Uncrewed aerial systems or drones are disruptive technology that are reshaping industries worldwide. Drone use is increasing rapidly, and it's my mission to make drone science entertaining and accessible. Before we start, I want to share something that can transform your drone program. We've worked with over 50 enterprise programs and found the exact factors that separate struggling operations from those that deliver millions in ROI. We've put these insights into our free Enterprise Drone Program Maturity Assessment. It's a $2,500 value. It's designed to show you your program's maturity stage, reveal your top 3 quick wins, and give you a roadmap for growth. Don't miss out on this free opportunity. The link is in the description. Hi, everyone. This is Jason San Souci with the Do You Know Drones podcast, and we are here. This is episode 4 of the micro podcast series at Seneca, Kansas, at the Kelly Hills Ag Field Day. This has just been mind-blowingly eye-opening and thought-provoking for everyone, I believe, that's sitting downstairs. The hundreds of people that are down there. Just an amazing event, well put together, well crafted, well executed, and I'm actually here right now with another guest from Kansas State, an entomologist of all people. I know. It's okay. Bryan McCornack. Is it Dr. Bryan McCornack?
You can, yeah.
Doctor. Yes,
Bryan
Dr.
Yeah.
Bryan McCornack. People do that on social media. It's like Dr. Bryan McCornack. Okay. So what I want to talk about, the conversation that I've been having with folks up here in this very nice air-conditioned pilot lounge. I know Lucas just spoils us. He spoils everyone. He's amazing. Is I want to talk about sort of the future trajectory of drone technology, because it's not just, I heard you downstairs, it's not just imaging. Like, that is a use case for drones in almost every vertical market that drones touch. Sure, that's one. But like, what else? And not just spraying, but like there's a lot of other things that drones are doing. So based on sort of the concept of drones are just a tool, what do you see from your point of view at your center, the ID3A center at Kansas State? What trajectory do you see for drone technology in the next 3 to 5 years?
Oh gosh, I know. Where do you, I mean, well, the mind-blowing thing today was even the beyond line of sight delivery of anti-venom. Like, that was for rural health. And you're like, this is why you come to these kinds of events, because then it gets you thinking, okay, maybe it's not just take a really nice picture or multiple pictures and let's stitch those together at a high altitude and then have 5 or 6, different doctors, plant doctors of different kinds, look at it and say, well, I think it's this. No, I think it's this. And no, I think it's this. But, and honestly, so I've been working with drones probably since 2015 on actually an Australian plant biosecurity project. And I was really more curious on what you can do besides just look at things. And so, kind of we coined it, it really is kind of the Swiss Army knife of the sky. Like, if you think about all the different kinds of things, attachments, you can see it, you can maybe hear it if you dropped a sensor, maybe you can go and collect data at remote parts of the field, because maybe at that time you didn't want to pay for upload for every single gadget that you have, but maybe, your drone did more than just the one thing. And, again, it gets back to your question, what we can see these things doing in the future. I mean, highlights today, like definitely drone application of products that are essential to crop production. And you've got an aging demographic of those that have been flying the space and providing those services, but you need new upcoming pilots that maybe aren't willing to take that kind of risk. So the application piece becomes pretty important. And how do you do that at scale when you're talking about something that's impacting soybean at 4+ million acres? Okay, if you don't have people to do this, we have, Houston, we have a problem. And this is where I think, K-State's role in the Institute for Digital Ag and Advanced Analytics, so ID3A, because I'm not going to say that multiple times.
It's so much.
But here's the deal. Is like, we wanted to make sure that everybody saw themselves in that, because everybody is kind of working in that space. They need food, so they're connected to agriculture. But maybe their part of the story is, English. Maybe they want to tell this actual story. Maybe they're a podcaster and want to figure out what should we be talking about to get people that are making decisions or buying these kinds of products or supporting agriculture through consumption. How do we do that? So to me, drones, those aircraft systems are a big part of that, from delivery beyond line of sight, we just talked about, to application of products, things that we think about with an entomology that maybe others don't, because we're just like that. is that, bugs, you can add things to systems that are disruptors. So pheromone disruptors, like you can deploy that. And that's something we built early on, was like, I wonder if we can take these little tabs that we use for traps and put them on a little rotating disc and just apply them in a field and see if we can just mess with bugs' brains and say, I swear I know there's something around here somewhere. But, it's those kinds of, again, events like this get you thinking about those kinds of applications in the next 3 years. I wish I could tell you exactly what that is. But right now, figuring out applications beyond line to sight, figuring out how to do this on scale, I think those are the right questions we need to be answering.
And I completely agree with you. It was a bit of a loaded question because I think, no, and I did it on purpose because everyone has their own opinion trajectory based on their own experience and just based on the current trajectory of policy, the current trajectory of what's happening in the Beltway, what's happening within specific industries.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to put your finger on where things are going to be 3 to 5 years now. There's this MPRM literally created 2 new jobs that did not exist before. That's going to continue to happen. And we have a nonprofit where we teach autistic students how to be in this industry and a lot of other disabled people. And we're like, look, we're maybe at like 5% of the overall potential of this industry in ag or in any industry, honestly.
Yeah.
Where it goes next is truly up to you.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be your generation and the next generation. They're going to figure this out. We get to be super lucky. We're in it right now. But we're only going to take it part way.
Yeah.
So I think that's really exciting. It's a great opportunity because this technology can touch so many. And when we win is when it disappears.
Right.
And I think that's what everyone really wants to see, is when it is just a tool. It's not a fun thing. People aren't getting mad at it. They're not scared of it. It's just a part of everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah. And to me, big disruptors within systems like that really just force you to come up with novel solutions. And so, my particular lab drone program is all DJI. So when I started looking at, okay, what does that mean when I'm trying to provide these kinds of cost-effective solutions, where the type of solutions we're providing are more image-based? Like we just published a paper looking at Japanese beetle detection using drone technology. So you can fly right now, like a few meters above at 7x optical zoom, and you can identify those things. But what do you do with that information? How do you map it? And then who's going to then go buy maybe a $3,000 drone? They would. But right now, if I have to go replace that, it's going to be much more than that. And so this is that disruptor of, I get it, that makes sense. At the same time, how do I help advance that from a land-grant university perspective? Realizing that access to those kinds of technologies, even though we might not be, my lab, manufacturing those, but then working with other campuses like Salina campus, that's is definitely positioned to help advance the manufacturing side of things, from product development to testing to working with others that are even here saying, what does that look like for UAS drones? I get that part. It's just sometimes disruptors get us to think differently about what we're currently doing, which is not always comfortable, but sometimes necessary.
I think it's the best growth comes when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'm not uncomfortable here because there's AC.
It's super really nice up here. No, I'm very really not nice. Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, but all good things must come to an end. And Bryan, this has been an amazing conversation. I really appreciate your insights and for coming on the show and just being here today and just sharing your story and sharing what's going on at ID3A, because I'm not saying the whole thing either. It's way too long. I was former military. Everything's an acronym. So totally get it. So just thank you so much for being on the show and just for being here today. And this has been good. So appreciate it.
Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Absolutely.